Hi, Eric Gimbal, ericgimbal.com, and today I'm going to present you my 5 tips for November 2016. Let's start. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ericgimbal. If you have any question, you can send me an email to info@ericgimbal.com, my website ericgimbal.com. And we start by tip number 1. I just say hi to my sister who is behind the camera. She's just going, don't speak about me. But she just said it, but I told it, it's too late. So let's start. Tip number 1. Today we're going to speak about, in this tip, we are going to speak about colors. Sometimes your computer screen is correctly calibrated and you know the colors are just right. But then you check your photos on a mobile telephone or on a tablet or on someone else's computer, and you see the colors are quite different. So you think you are doing wrong. Well, you may be doing wrong, but if you are sure your colors are right, what you see is right. It's just because someone else's computer is not correctly calibrated. So the problem is that you must think about what is your picture for. So if your picture, you're going to show it on your material to a client, then there's no problem. You know, it's the right colors, everything is okay. But if you're going to publish on the internet, you should be aware that maybe you should adapt your colors to what people normally see. For example, cell phone are very contrasty, and an iPhone color is not exactly the same as a Samsung color or whatever color. So depending on your public, maybe you need to adjust a bit to make sure what they see is what you want them to see. So one option is, when you have finished your picture, try to check your own picture on a tablet or a telephone to make sure it's not that much different from one to one. Obviously, if someone has a completely uncalibrated computer screen, they will never see the color you would like them to see, but that's not your fault either. Okay, and the same with application, or website like Facebook or Flickr or whatever. They actually change sometimes the colors. There is a small color shift, and this is not your fault. This is what we have to live with nowadays. Okay, but anyway, if you can, look at your pictures on several supports and compare it and decide if you have to adjust or not. Tip number 2. Well, it has to do a bit with the first tip. I'm going to speak about the difference between sRGB and Adobe RGB. Adobe is by Adobe, the Photoshop maker, okay? And what's the difference? Because on your camera you will see there is the option to make picture with sRGB color or Adobe RGB color, and there is a difference. The Adobe RGB color has a wider range of colors. It sees more differences than the sRGB. So it is important that when you are going to make a picture, your camera is configured, if it can. Obviously not all cameras can, but most mid-range to top of the range camera allow this, should be in Adobe RGB. So you're going to capture the highest numbers of colors as you can. Okay, so when you will work on your computer with these pictures, try to work with the Adobe, so you have all the specs, the spectrum of pictures, of colors, and you can work with it. But when it comes to publishing your picture, then you should be aware of where you're going to publish a picture. If the picture is supposed to be published on the internet, then what they will support, like Facebook or Flickr, they will support sRGB. It means they will remove these extra colors they cannot see from the Adobe profile. So it's important that when you're going to export in sRGB. Tip number 3. Normally when we make a picture, we have the camera here, and we close an eye, we look through the viewfinder, and we see like this, like a tunnel vision. And this tunnel vision makes us miss a lot of pictures. Why? Because I'm doing like street photography. I see someone there, I'm like this, but actually if it was like this, I don't really see there is a kid coming on a bicycle here. I don't see him. I make my picture of this old man sitting there. It would be great to have the old man with the guy, the kid coming with the bicycle. If instead of doing this from time to time, I will open my second eye, then I would see what's happening, and maybe I would think about reframing my picture or thinking of a different picture or be ready for something new. So especially if you're doing social pictures, photography, or if you're doing street photography, be always ready to be aware of what's around, and the only way is to open both eyes. Tip number 4, we're going to speak about filters. So I made a video time ago speaking about if people should put filters on their lens or not. I'm not speaking about these filters when they are thought for protecting your lens. I'm going to speak about filters you actually need to make the picture. So there are several kind of filters, and I'm not going to develop the whole story about filters. I would maybe make a separate video explaining everything and how they work, all this. But many people now, they're speaking about big filters and asking what they should buy and what it is for. So I'm making a quick resume about this. Okay, so there are basically 4 main filters. The sky UV filter. These are the one that actually people usually put on the lens to protect it. It actually betters a bit the sky colors, but this is not actually a filter you need. Okay, so we are left with 3 kind of pictures of filters that we actually need when you are going to make landscape pictures. So we don't need to process it or invent things in Photoshop afterwards. When you make your picture in your camera, you already have exactly how it will be. Okay, so the first one are the ND filters. ND filters stand for neutral density. It means these filters do not make any, well, or should not make any color shift. You have a filter, but it won't change the colors. So it's like if you had sunglasses. You put actually a filter in front of your lens, and it will stop the light by 3 stops, 2 stops, 10 stops, whatever. Okay. So what do you need that? What do you need that for? So let's say you want to make the typical river that is running, and you want a very slow motion, so the river is like all this moved like this. Okay, so you need to make slow speeds on your camera. Slow the speed as much as you want, as you can. The problem is that you need to close your lens, and there is a physical limit. You can close more than what your lens allows you. So the option is to stop the light, putting this filter in front of it. So these are actually for that. You actually stop the light with this filter, and you can still keep the aperture you want, or and lower the speed as much as you want. Okay, so use this ND filter for that. Then you have the graduated or degraded filters. What do you need this for? Well, let's say you want to make a landscape picture, and you have the land that is really nice, and then you have the sky. This is really bright. So it won't be as possible to expose the sky the same way as the land, or the sea, or the water, or whatever. Okay, so one option would be to make 2 pictures, and then in Photoshop or whatever software you use, just stick them together so you have the right exposure for the sky, and another exposure for the land or the water. Okay, so one option is to use this filter. This degraded filter, actually graded filter, sorry, actually what they have is a part is dark, the same as the ND filter, and another part is actually clear. So this way you put the dark part in the sky, so you actually stop the light coming from the sky, and then the lower part is used to get the normal light from the land or from the sea, whatever landscape you're doing. So this way, with one shoot, you actually have the right exposure for both parts. And the other kind, which are the paralyzer. Paralyzing, what it is for? Well, when the light is coming from the sky, the light is really messy. But when it reflects on anything, then it reflects really organized, like this. Like you imagine like this, and when it goes like this. Okay, so it means that as it is organized, if we can actually cut this reflection. So what do we need for that? We need a paralyzer. So this filter actually when it's perpendicular to the reflection, then it will stop this ray, this light ray, okay, ray of light. And so let's say there is water, and then I want to see what's under the water. I mean, like, imagine a path with a bit of water from the rain, and then, well, you want to see the bottom of the or below the water. Actually, with your eyes you can see it, okay, but you know that the reflection will be more sensitive for the camera. So actually you put the filter, this will stop this reflection, and you will see what's underneath, okay. So it's you want to make a picture of a building and you don't want all the windows to reflect, or even trees. Actually, they have a lot of water in there, so there is a lot of reflection, and it makes the color softer. So if you use a paralyzer, it will stop this reflection, and the green part will look greener, okay. So paralyzers are really useful, because in this case, this is something you cannot invent. When I spoke about the neutral density or whatever, you can actually make two pictures and have the right exposure for the sky and the right exposure for the land, and then stick them together. But in the case of reflection, you cannot invent what the camera cannot see. So if I want to see something that's behind the glass, I need to cut this reflection. So for this, the paralyzer is really, really useful. So instead of thinking always, oh, I will post-process the picture, think about having the right thing from the start, and it's really fun to use filters this way. Tip number 5, we're going to speak about droplets of water. In a tip in the past, I explained that a small water spray would spray water on plant or whatever to make macro pictures with some drop of water. And now I speak about if I want the bigger drop. So the problem is, when you could use a drip counter, and you put it, click, just one drop of water, but then it will probably spill. So you will have not time to capture this drop of water. So one way to do it is to go to the pharmacy and buy glycerin, which is a liquid, see-through liquid. It's a bit more, it's thicker than water. So when you put it, it doesn't spill that fast. But anyway, sometimes it's too heavy on itself, so it will actually go like this. So you should mix it with 25 to 50% of water, and take the drop counter and just put just one drop there, and you will see the perfect drop, and it gives you some time to make the picture. Obviously the drop it's not like glue, it won't be there for hours, but it won't run that fast, it won't spill that fast. So this way you have maybe 10 seconds, 5 seconds, or 30 seconds to make a picture. So use this. It's a very simple tip. It's not very expensive, and now that winter is coming, I think would be the right time to practice this at home. And you could actually be making some macro photography in your house instead of be freezing outside. Well, outside you could make some snow pictures and not a drop of water. But okay, so simple tip, not very expensive, and you can make impressive picture using this. Well, these are the tips for November 2016. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ericgibaud. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, you can send me an email to info@ericgibaud.com. And my Facebook, facebook.com/ericgibaudphoto, Twitter ericgibaud, Instagram ericgibaud, Google++ ericgibaud. And what else? Well, thank you to my sister behind there, and don't forget to share the video if you like it, and you can press the like too, and if not, well, thank you anyway. Goodbye.